So Jesus came to Israel, the people of the covenant, the chosen people, and he gave them certain standards. If you're going to be the salt of the earth, if you're going to be the light of the world, if you're going to be a nation of kings and priests bringing blessing to the nations, then you'll have to live by a certain set of standards. Standards such as love God with your whole heart, mind, soul, and strength, love your neighbor as yourself, forgive 70 times 7, be humble if you want to be great in God's kingdom. So the question is, can Jesus himself live by those standards? Can he forgive the one who is beating him, crucifying him? Can he pray for those who are doing evil to him? Can he advocate for them? That's what he did from the cross. So what was Satan's role in the crucifixion? The cross was a test and demonstration of Jesus Christ's love for his Father, expressed through his obedience, faithfulness, humility, and endurance. The cross was Satan's attempt to find some flaw in Jesus Christ's obedience and some imperfection in his faithfulness. In other words, did the Son love his Father enough to do the single most difficult thing any father has ever asked the Son to do? If the Father directed the Son to give himself up into the hands of wicked men to be crucified and suffer the most horrific death imaginable, would the Son obey? Or would the Son say, I love you, Father, but I don't love you enough to do this. I'm out of here. The biblical facts tell us these 4 things about the cross. Number 1, Satan orchestrated the events of the crucifixion. 2, the Father directed the Son to give himself up to be crucified. 3, Jesus Christ saw the cross as a test of his obedience and thus a demonstration of his love for his Father to the world. Number 4, Satan would try to get Jesus Christ to disobey his Father's will and thus demonstrate some unworthy quality of unfaithfulness and disobedience in Jesus Christ. In other words, some lack of love or devotion for his Father, or to say it yet another way, some sin, flaw, or blemish in him. Let's look at these 4 points in detail. Number 1, Satan orchestrated the events of the crucifixion. When Adam and Eve disobeyed God, a promise was given that a Savior would come. The seed of the woman, Jesus Christ, would crush the head of the serpent, although the serpent would hurt the heel of the Savior. Genesis 3:15. The serpent hurting the heel of the Messiah is usually understood to be a prophecy of the cross, although Satan's role in the cross is not generally understood or discussed. The disobedience of Adam and Eve in the context of Eden would find its antitype in the obedience of Jesus Christ on the cross. The curse of mortality, death, sin, toil, and trouble that flowed out of Adam and Eve's disobedience would be reversed by the blessings of life and deliverance that would flow out of Jesus Christ's obedience and sufferings, Romans 5:18. Additionally, after Satan tested the faithfulness of Jesus Christ in the wilderness, we are told that, in concluding every trial, the adversary withdrew from him until the appointed time, Luke 4:13. So Luke is telling us that even though Satan found no flaws in the obedience and faithfulness of Jesus Christ in the wilderness and withdrew from him, that Satan would come back at him in the future, which could only be in the context of the crucifixion. We also are told that Satan entered Judas to betray Jesus and get the events of the crucifixion started. Luke 22:3 and 4. So we have the following facts summarized. The serpent would hurt the heel of the promised Savior, Genesis 3. After the trial in the wilderness, Satan would test Jesus Christ again at the appointed time, Luke 4. Satan enters Judas to begin the trial of the cross, Luke 22, 3 and 4. The Father directed the Son to give himself up to be crucified. The cross is spoken as a test of obedience in a number of ways. Obviously, nobody would want to die such a horrific death. When Jesus Christ obediently said, "Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done," Luke 22:42, that shows he had a clear understanding that the Father was directing him to give himself up into the hands of wicked men to be crucified. Jesus made this extraordinary statement to his disciples before going to the cross. "No longer shall I be speaking much with you, for the chief of the world is coming, and in me he has not anything. But that the world may know that I am loving the Father, and according as the Father directs me, thus I am doing. Rouse. We may going hence." John 14:30 and 31. I'm going to comment on each of the underlined phrases. The chief of the world is coming. The chief of the world could only be Satan. At their first meeting in the wilderness, Satan had offered the kingdoms of the world to Jesus if he would worship Satan. In the phrase, "In me he has not anything," Satan has no dirt on Jesus. No amount of suffering or shame will get Jesus to disobey his Father. And sin, his obedience, tested and tried, demonstrated him to be flawless, blameless, and sinless. He is the perfect sacrifice. He conquered the world. He conquered sin and the devil. The phrase, "that the world may know that I am loving the Father," Jesus here proclaims the purpose of the cross, to demonstrate to the world his love of his Father through his obedience to his Father's will. It shows that he himself could keep the words he gave his disciples, such as love your neighbor, love God with your whole heart, soul, and strength, pray for those who persecute you, love your enemies. He himself kept those words under the most excruciating suffering, trial, and testing. So the phrase, "according as the Father directs me, thus I am doing," the Father directed Jesus Christ to give himself up into the hands of wicked men to be crucified. Jesus will obey no matter how hard Satan makes the road of obedience. Adam and Eve failed to obey God with full stomachs in the midst of a beautiful garden. Job honored God when Satan took everything from him, but Job was never asked to actively sacrifice his sons, daughters, and all that he had. Jesus Christ, on the other hand, faced the test of active obedience in the face of great suffering, shame, and death. Number 3, Jesus Christ saw the cross as a test of his obedience and thus a demonstration of his love for his Father to the world. The cross is described as an act of obedience on the part of Jesus Christ. He obediently spoke the words, "Not my will, but thy will be done." We are told that the obedience of Jesus Christ is the foundation of our blessing, just as the disobedience of Adam is the foundation of our condemnation. Jesus Christ learned obedience through what he suffered. Hebrews 5:8, he was obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. Moreover, in contrast to the flawless, sinless animals that were offered up as sacrifices in order to delight God, but really God did not actually delight in them, Jesus Christ delighted his Father when he sacrificially, lovingly, and obediently said, "Behold, I have come to do your will, O God, as it is written of me in the book of the scroll." Hebrews 10, 5 through 9. According as the Father directs me, thus I am doing. All of those verses show that Jesus Christ and the disciples saw the cross as a test and demonstration of the love of Jesus Christ for the Father that would be expressed through his obedience, endurance, and humility. Successfully passing that test demonstrated that Jesus Christ was flawless, sinless, and without spot or wrinkle, etc. Jesus Christ saw anything that might hinder his obedience as satanic, and that which was not in accord with the will of God, as we will see next. Thenceforth begins Jesus to show his disciples that he must be coming away into Jerusalem and to be suffering much from the elders and chief priests and scribes, and to be killed, and the third day to be aroused. And taking him to him, Peter begins to rebuke him, saying, Propitious be it to thee, Lord, by no means shall this be for thee. Now being turned, Jesus said to Peter, Go away behind me, Satan. A snare are you to me, for you are not disposed to that which is of God, but that which is of men. Matthew 16, 21 to 23. Even though Peter no doubt spoke these words out of love, Jesus clearly saw that anything that might try to hinder him from doing his Father's will was satanic. Jesus Christ saw the cross as God's will, and he perceived anything that would hinder him from doing God's will as Satan's will. Based on Satan's conversation with God about Job, here is how a conversation between God and Satan concerning Jesus Christ might have went. And this is just hypothetical. So God says, Have you seen what a righteous, faithful, and obedient son I have in Jesus Christ? He does everything I tell him to do. His obedience is perfect. He deserves to be the king of Israel. Satan replies, Everything you have told him to do is easy. But everyone has a limit to their obedience. Every human who has ever lived has loved something else more than he loves you. Even Jesus Christ loves his own life and comfort more than he loves you. God's reply, You are wrong. Jesus Christ loves me even more than his own soul. He would lay it down if I asked him to. Satan's reply, Tell your son to give himself into the hands of men to be crucified, and you will see that he loves his own life more than he loves you. I will find some blemish in his faithfulness and some flaw in his obedience. I will find dirt on him. He is not as faithful and true as you think. His love for you has its limits. God's replying, Okay, I will direct him to give himself into the hands of wicked men to be crucified. You may do your best to get him to disobey me. His life is in your hands. In Job 2:4, Satan says, Skin's for skin. All that a man has he will give for his life. So Satan had in his mind that a man's life is the most precious thing in the world to him. Would Jesus' life be more precious to him than his love for his Father? Even the most horrific of deaths could not cause him to disobey his Father.